Which legendary Reddit post, comment can you still not get over? There was a post on r/shore of a gorilla using sign language to tell people not to feed it or something to that effect. To this day, I still laugh when I think about a comment that said, "It's a shame there's so many deaf gorillas." This one guy was on the toilet, and he sneezed while he was taking a shit. That same moment, the power in his house went out. He proceeded to cry because he thought he shit himself blind. That time a person on r/Formula 1 asked if you could eliminate a race within the year, which would it be, and why? Which looked rather bad when taken out of context, especially in r/all. This one guy was on the toilet, and he sneezed while he was taking a shit. That same moment, the power in his house went out. He proceeded to cry because he thought he shit himself blind. Not a single post but a series by /u/shittymorph making up bogus facts relevant to any particular thread and ending with. Since 1998, when Undertaker threw mankind off Hell in a Cell and plummeted 16 feet through an announcer's table, he always spells out 1998. Someone ran r/homeowners trying to get rid of ants in their house. Tons of comments. One fellow Redditor suggested maybe there were no ants, that they were hallucinations due to carbon monoxide poisoning. Op had his house tested and turns out there were, in fact, no ants and he was hallucinating them due to carbon monoxide poisoning. Till carbon monoxide can make you see ants. Carbon monoxide can do some crazy shit to your brain. This comment from Arnold Schwarzenegger lifting up a guy who had a terrible day at the gym. I always say don't be afraid of failure, because how far can you really fall? You found out, to the ground. It's right there. Now you know it isn't anything that should scare you. Believe I saw it on Reddit, IT tech related post. Guy starts a new job as a system admin, no other IT at the place. Previous admin had been there for just about fucking forever and left behind some documentation, but not enough to make the job easy. The guy finds a note from the previous tech with a few miscellaneous tips, and then says if there is a critical emergency and everything else has failed, there is a box in the server room behind the switch, open only as a last resort. Guy is there for a few years, metaphorical fires get fixed, he learns the tricks of the place, but one day the server doesn't boot, tries everything, can't get it to work, all the files are there, the company can't function, actual fires are about to start. Guy freaks out and remembers the emergency box and figures now should be an emergency and figures maybe the guy left access info to off-site backups or tape drives or some sort of disaster recovery and goes into the server room. Behind the switch is a box, pulls it out and opens it to find a bottle of tequila. I still love the r/shower thoughts post. Going waterboarding in Guantanamo Bay sounds like a great time if you don't know what either of those things are. I love this. I can't find the post, but it was a man whose son was born evil. They knew it right away, born in the 70s, I believe. When he, the son, was older, he tried to kill his baby sister, or something. And the mom started to beat him up. The dad left the room and waited until she stopped. She came out 20 minutes later and he said, "Is he dead?" She said, "My God, I hope so." They locked themselves downstairs for 2 weeks, listening to him move around a little bit here and there. After 2 weeks he left and they never saw him again. I forget the whole thing, but something along the lines of a guy had to go to a dinner with his wife's parents. Ate some edibles not realizing how strong they were. And he was sweating like a pig, claiming how spicy the food was. Then his wife was like, "We've only had the appetizer, bread and water." I have no idea how to get the link, but it had me in tears the first time. Trust me, it's way funnier than I make it to be. I tried really hard to find the original post, but I couldn't find it anymore. Frown. It was a post in r/am I the asshole where an Uber driver drove a girl to a restaurant where she was meeting her boyfriend. Before he dropped her off, he gave her a respectful comment, nothing inappropriate and without any bad intentions. He was asking if he was the asshole and the answer was no. The best part happened in the comments section where somebody asked if he was living in a specific city. He replied a little freaked out with yes. turn out it was the stranger cousin that he gave the compliment to. After he dropped her off at the restaurant, she went inside to meet her boyfriend. However, it wasn't a nice night because he broke up with her. She told her cousin that the compliment that her Uber driver gave her some comfort or made her happy or something like that. The girl and the Uber driver then contacted each other through the cousin. I don't know what happened afterwards, but if somebody knows this post, I will give you a virtual hug if you could link it. The story of u/Jason in hell is one of the saddest stories that I have read on the internet. If you guys don't know the story, u/Jason in hell was a fellow Reddit user that posted his story regarding his wife's cheating with his neighbor on r/relationship_advice. r/relationship_advice told him that he will be better off divorcing his wife than to deal with her. A few days later he posts something on r/legal advice to see how he can secure custody of his 2 children during the divorce. His wife, named Brandy Worley, found the r/legal advice thread. The same day she found the Reddit posts, she kills both kids to spite her soon-to-be ex-husband. Brandy then calls 911 telling the operator that she stabbed herself and her 2 children because her husband was divorcing her. The call was recorded with Brandy showing no remorse or emotion during the call. This whole situation was unfolding live on Reddit and 4chan. Brandy was given 120 years in prison, with the jury saying she doesn't regret her decision not one bit. There was an r/AskReddit thread that said, "What do you think nobody in the world is doing right now?" Top comment was masturbating to me. Top reply was just rubbed one out for you. Godspeed, sir. So a while back there was a post, I think on r/insanepeople Facebook, of a woman looking for a bus to hold 60 people for a church function and was so fucking hostile and rude about it. In one post she says next, and for months on Reddit people were always saying next to everything, but it seemed nobody besides me remembers this and I can't find the post. Edit. Okay, so apparently I'm not the only one who remembers this. Wish it would make a comeback. Everyone remembers this. Next. The story of /u/Spontaneous. It's shocking how little it took for him to turn into a full-blown heroin addict, but the documentation of their spiral was more convincing than any dare program I could have thought of. Oh, I know this one. I just saw it a few days ago and my god. It is a roller coaster. There was one that I've never been able to find again, but some guy insulted somebody and he replied with something like "says the virgin with the 3-inch penis" and provided links from the other guy's post history that proved both those assertions. It was an absolute burial. You love to see it. One time someone had gone digging through my comment history on another account and said, "You post in r/anime, so you're clearly just a fat neckbeard who will die alone." I looked at his post history and his literal last post was on relationship advice saying, "I am a fat neckbeard who will probably die alone." I guess people really do project their insecurities onto others. I remember some guy asked Reddit what movie really made an impact on their life, and some guy said Paul Blart, Mall Cop, and somehow every post from that point on would end up relating to Paul Blart. Even made some leaks into other threads. Wait, that's what that was about? I remember seeing Paul Blart, Mall Cop on the most random posts somehow. A recent one, but that 40-something-year-old guy who bought like 5 Peloton bikes to give to the family of his 21-year-old Eastern European wife because they told him it was tradition in their country. Excuse me, what? There was a guy on Twitter that had a son with his ex-wife and he moved away and started a new family. This man was a mechanic his whole life and with his first son had promised him when he was like 4 to 6 that he'd get this sweet car they'd worked on. Instead he gives it to his 16-year-old son from the second marriage, and his first son was furious. Like never speaking to you again furious. Dad was dumbfounded. Then the son sent him a video where dad promised him the car at his birthday party. Turns out his first son went to school to be a mechanic like his dad. This mpa had never even once asked what his son was doing with his life. I've never been so sad reading a story on Reddit. The dude who took pictures of his own balls and electrocuted them to prove a scientific point. Edit, source. NSFW, of course.